Hello health champions. Today we will talk about the best 10 healthy foods you can eat. Follow us now. I am a former Olympic medical doctor and a member of the Olympic community. If you want to improve your health by understanding how the body works, subscribe and click on the notification bell. Make sure to watch the video until the end, because I will not limit myself to listing the foods only. You will find out why these foods are useful to you. In the end, we will give you a small reward because we all need some happiness in life. At first, I was going to list the best 10 healthy foods, but then I thought that this might be misleading because it excludes many other foods and also tends to give us a wrong idea of what food is supposed to do. I often see examples of superfoods. People say, "This is the food you should eat," or they say something like, "What is the best healthy food you should eat?" Then people want to know what it is, and they just want to eat it. This gives us a wrong idea of what food is. Let's assume that food is a part of a certain thing. I am often asked, "I have a headache. What is the food I should eat?" "I have high blood pressure. What is the food I should eat?" Or what is the type of food you eat? Foods are not supposed to do a certain thing, but they should provide the necessary ingredients for your body. So we want to avoid the wrong ideas about superfoods. I think there are some very useful foods. For example, it is full of good ingredients. There is nothing bad about it. But we don't want to think about it as a cure. We want to stay away from the idea of the most healthy food ever. We want to understand that diversity is what complements each other and provides the body with all the different building blocks and all the auxiliary factors, vitamins and minerals it needs. Another thing I want to warn you about is natural food. No. Why do we mean that something that is not in the natural food section is necessarily healthy food? Most of the time, these products are made with better ingredients and do not contain a lot of chemicals, but it can be treated greatly. Be aware of that. When I see the natural food section in the grocery store, I can only laugh. So why is the rest of the store not called unnatural food? Just an idea. So, given the existence of many healthy foods, I did not want to talk about individual elements only. I will talk about categories, and the first category of healthy foods, in my opinion, is non-vegetarian vegetables. Well, once again, I do not list these in any particular order, because diversity is what provides nutrition. So, non-vegetarian vegetables include leafy vegetables, such as lettuce, spinach, and corn. Any type of leaf will be very rich in nutrients, minerals, vitamins, and fibers, and will be very low in carbohydrates, starch, and sugar. So, any leafy vegetable, just eat as much as you want. Then there are things like broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. These are not leafy, but they are still low in starch. So these are also things you can eat. So, you know while you are eating, that vegetables contain at least 5% carbohydrates and 5% pure carbohydrates. So, you take a set of carbohydrates and put the leaves, because some foods may contain 15 grams of carbohydrates, but they are almost all leaves. So, this is still good. So, you know that it contains at least 5% pure carbohydrates, and you can eat a lot of them. And these vegetables provide a huge amount of nutrients, such as vitamins and minerals, in a basic form. The second number is turkey. Well, there is a lot of talk about fruits, turkey, and vegetables. So here is my little advice here. I don't think it's possible to eat some berries, but I don't think many of them are better. And I think berries are the best kind of fruit, because most fruits will be modified. Our ancestors may have had some access to fruits, but their fruits were small, sour, and seasonal. Okay, so humans didn't have access to sweet, juicy, and big fruits throughout the year, as we have now. Therefore, this provides a lot of sugar. And although it contains a lot of nutrients, it provides more sugar than is necessary for humans over a long period of time. Eat some berries, eat a little fruit, but moderately, and don't think you have to eat it all the time. Berries are the best because they contain less sugar and are high in fiber and vitamins. The best kinds of berries are strawberries, red berries, blackberries, wild grapes. Got it? They are low in sugar and high in nutrients. The third category is meat, which provides a complete range of essential amino acids. It is one of the few groups that humans can rely on for a long time and survive. Most of what we eat for a short period of time, we will destroy. We will suffer from a lack of water, and we will not get enough fuel or nutrients to survive. But animal proteins, especially fatty acids, provide enough nutrients for us to live on for years. I'm not saying this is the best, although some carnivores live very well on it. So this includes beef, pork, chicken, mutton, and any form of wild animals. So rabbits, gazelle meat, and so on. And of course, fish. So salmon, sardines, and mackerel, the clean fatty fish that contains tons of good omega-3s, are the best choice. The thing to remember here is that when you eat an animal, you only get healthy food as much as the health of the animal you eat. And if the animal eats a natural food of its own kind, isn't that so? Therefore, I will do my best to avoid cow meat, which is fed with grains, because it is very unnatural for a cow to eat grains. They do this because it makes the meat more tender and increases the fat content of the meat and makes the cow grow. It gets a fast growth. If they feed the cow with grains for a few months, they get double the amount of meat from it. Isn't that so? They do this for money, wealth, and all the wrong reasons. A cow should only eat grains to be healthy and to maintain the balance of omega-3 to omega-6. It is unnatural and spoils this balance. If you think that the meat from the cows that feed on grains is expensive, do whatever you want. Start with one thing, and with your learning, and perhaps developing some habits that may save you money, you can then take it one step at a time. Isn't that so? But do what you can, and eat the food that has been raised in a natural way. As for fish, you must choose wild fish, because fish raised in farms such as cows feed them things you should not eat. After that, don't be too healthy. When you enter nature, if you try to change the rules, it will not end well at all. Number 4, eggs. There are many types of healthy eggs if they are from healthy animals. There are duck eggs, lamb eggs, and others. But for practical purposes, most people are afraid of chicken eggs. And now, what you are looking for again is high quality. If the chicken lives a normal and healthy life, it will produce normal and healthy eggs. And if it is fed in an unhealthy way, and there are tight cages inside, the eggs will be malnourished, perhaps fattened. Therefore, we are looking for the standard of breastfeeding in the United States, where chickens live outdoors with an area not less than 10 square meters for each of them. This provides them with a large area. They run outdoors, eat insects, eat grass, eat seeds, and sometimes they eat different types of grains. But this is not a bad thing for the chicken. More importantly, they have the freedom to run and choose what they eat. And there should be no crowds. When you look at these eggs and break them, the yolk of the egg is dark orange, isn't it? A cheap chicken egg, which is produced by large quantities of sick chickens, is light yellow, so that it is difficult to distinguish between it and the whites, and sometimes it is light. The yolk of a chicken egg that hatches in the uterus is dark orange. What you may also notice is that the yolk of the egg is larger, even in a medium-sized egg. The yolk seems very large. Now, one of them caught my attention. I didn't know this, but I looked and saw this in the store. What you want is the egg that hatches in the uterus, not the breast. Isn't that right? Mubaster only means that they take the cheap egg from the sick chicken and sterilize it with steam or something like that, so they hatch it. Isn't that right? This is not what you are looking for. The 5th category is fats and oils. The reputation of fats has been distorted because they do not understand that fats in the body do not come from the fats we eat. Fats in the body are stored by a hormone called insulin, which is the result of fructose, sucrose, carbohydrates, and artificial foods. If you eat a diet that does not stimulate insulin, fats are excellent. The key to fats and oils is to be in a relatively normal state. You can eat fats and oils that are isolated, provided that they are treated in the correct way, such as the butter produced from cows that are raised in the barn. Organic butter from cows that feed on grass is a great food. Consume a lot of it. Organic olive oil, organic coconut oil, and recently, it is possible to find MQT oil, which is a triple fat with a medium chain, more often, and at reasonable prices. Some other fats that people do not understand are actually very good, such as pork fat and cow fat, or pork fat and cow fat. Again, if it is from a healthy animal, it is completely good. Therefore, if you make beef broth, bone broth from organic animals that feed on grass and are healthy, if you make a large amount, you may get about 2 to 2.5 kilograms of remaining cow fat. You can remove this fat and keep it for cooking. If you know its source, it is healthy fats. One of the things you should take into account about this concentrated fat is that most carbohydrates, toxins, and hormones dissolve in fat. This means that if you focus on fat in these products, you will also focus on toxins. Therefore, when buying fat, it is worth spending a few extra dollars to get organic and clean products. Because if you do not, you are buying a product that contains toxins. The sixth category is nuts. Nuts can be a very healthy food. Do not eat them in large quantities because they contain omega-6. Do not make it the main part of your diet. Rather, use it as part of your daily diet. It is better to focus on nuts that meet 3 criteria. Nuts are good for raw food because raw food preserves nutrients. When it is diluted or processed, nutrients are lost, and some fats may change in it. Carbohydrates are low and rich in fat because rich in fat means less carbohydrates. In this order, we have macadamia, pecan, walnuts, and almonds. These meet all the criteria mentioned above. Walnuts and almonds contain less carbohydrates, but you will not eat large quantities of these nuts because they are very dense and will usually be good even in a low carbohydrate or ketone diet. Another great thing about nuts is that they are very rich in fiber and proteins, so you get a lot of nutrients in a little food. The seventh category is seeds and often combined with nuts, but I prefer to classify them as one because they are completely different, and you do not use them in the same way many times, especially the one I emphasize. Chia seeds, almonds, walnuts, and dates are my favorite. While you can usually carry nuts in a bag and light meals, and take a little of it and enjoy eating it because it tastes good, it is unlikely that you will find yourself eating chia seeds in this way. It stays in your mouth like this, and you have to swallow it for a long time. Its taste is not bad, but it is not the way we usually eat it. But it is excellent for cooking on low heat. You can make a kind of syrup with it. You can make bread with it as long as you keep it on low heat. It is great for whipped juices. And if you eat something like yogurt, instead of grains, grind some of these seeds and put them on yogurt. Seeds are very cheap, especially with their popularity. You can find them in the United States in Costco stores, rich in healthy fats, fibers, and proteins. It is as if they filled those things there without carbohydrates. Despite the overall increase in carbohydrates, they are almost all fibers, which makes the carbohydrate level very low, about 3–4%. It does not only depend on omega-3 plants, but it is basically good, where the seeds of chia and chitin contain the highest levels of fatty acids, omega-3. But you still need to get some omega-3 fish, because omega-3 in chia seeds and chitin are just appetizers, and the process of transformation does not happen as it should, nor does it happen by a large percentage. Some say that you can eat this omega-3 and make fish oil, but it does not work that way. Many turn a very small percentage, it may reach only 1% of the plant omega-3, to the actual omega-3 that we get from fish. Number 8 is avocado. And I think it is not necessarily a superfood because, as I said, I do not want to think about food this way. But I think it is great in many ways to the extent that I made it a special category for it. Well, its taste is delicious, creamy, and rich in natural fats. You can eat it raw with a spoon or cooked and add it to dishes or make guacamole. It is satisfying to the extent that it becomes a complete meal, and it goes well with everything. For example, the opinion about avocados, something that I talked about recently, is the imitated diet for fasting, and avocados will be the ideal food there because it is rich in fats and very low in carbohydrates and very low in protein. So it is an example of an ideal food. Do not think of it as a superfood, just think of it as a great base that goes well with everything. The 9th category is what is known as the root vegetables. They grow underground and are usually rich in carbohydrates and act as a storage for plant energy. For example, sweet potatoes, turnips, carrots, and curves roots. These types are very rich in carbohydrates, so some people may want to avoid them. If you are trying to lose weight or follow a low-carbohydrate diet, or follow a keto diet or suffer from insulin resistance, you should avoid these types. Perhaps if you are sensitive to insulin and are trying to achieve your ideal weight or practice carbohydrate rotation, you may follow a keto diet during the week, then increase your carbohydrate intake a little at the end of the week. These are ideal foods to get good food that contains some carbohydrates without resorting to grains and foods that cause inflammation. But they are still very rich in carbohydrates, so you do not want to eat a lot of them, but they are great. You can use them instead of potatoes to make mashed potatoes, or you can use several types of it to diversify the taste a little and get a deeper flavor. Although it is great to cover it with small cubes for vegetable or beef soup. The 10th category is herbs and spices such as garlic, ginger, turmeric, cinnamon, clove, cardamom, coriander, parsley, fennel, clove, all of which are very nutritious. They provide accurate nutrients, but do not contain many major nutrients. When it comes to proteins, fats, or carbohydrates, remember to take a lot of minerals and vitamins, and some things with medical properties, but at a normal level. So I don't want to consider it a medicine. True, it is a supplement. It can be like using herbs, and it has great benefits. But again, think of it as things that make food delicious. True, garlic, ginger, and turmeric have antibacterial properties for bacteria, fungi, and viruses. Turmeric is anti-inflammatory and helps in stomach healing. Studies have shown some of the benefits of cinnamon without affecting blood sugar. So there are huge benefits to these ingredients. So don't take it as a medicine. Consider it an alternative to medicine. Just repeat it over and over again within a healthy diet. Okay, here's a little bonus for you. And it's not necessarily food, but we need to have some enjoyment in life. I think Rika makes life more sweet, but we want to understand what we get. So chocolate is something that really excites people. And many people say, oh, I will give up anything, but I will not give up chocolate. But there is a big difference between milk chocolate and dark chocolate. When people talk about the benefits of chocolate, they say, oh, good. Dark chocolate has all these benefits. The reason is that cocoa beans contain nutrients. Cocoa beans contain some useful nutrients. Milk chocolate contains a lot of sugar that spoils the benefits. The darker the chocolate, the less sugar it contains. If you get chocolate with 88% cocoa content, the rest is sugar. All that is not cocoa is sugar. If the ratio of cocoa is 5.5 tons, the ratio of sugar is 15%. Chocolate contains a high percentage of carbohydrates, but most of them are fibers, so you can digest them. I like chocolate that has a cocoa ratio between 78 and 5 tons. Sometimes I think that 78% is the only good ratio. And sometimes I think that 82% is very sweet and the best ratio is 500%. The darker the chocolate, the more satiety and less excitement people have in food. With a chocolate bar of 82%, if you have something like a Lindt bar that contains 8 pieces. So if you eat 1 piece, this equals the price of the bar and gives you about 1.5 grams of sugar. If you are trying to keep the absolute zero for sugar, do not eat chocolate. But if you eat a piece or maybe 2 pieces, you do not add a large amount of sugar. And if it goes up to 85%, you get about 1 gram of sugar for each piece. Many of my patients tell me that they can handle some dark chocolate, but they cannot exceed 50% of cocoa content. The higher it is, the more bitter it is. Okay, don't worry. You can change that. Okay, it will take some time, but the less sweets and sugar you eat in your diet, the feeling of taste will change. True, most of our tastes are acquired, and the more you stay away from sugar, you find a lot of things that you used to think were sweet in a natural way. It is sweet in a nutty way. And the more you progress on the road and adapt more to real food, and the less sugar you eat, you will start to appreciate the flavor. All these things. You will learn how real flavors are. And after that, you will not have a problem with very dark chocolate. Chocolate at 75%, 72%, 80%, and even 90% will be rich in flavors and not so much. And if you are not a chocolate lover, there is no need to worry. You do not have to learn that. It is not a must. It is not one of the basic food groups. Stick to the other 10 that we talked about and you will be fine. If you like this video, go ahead and watch it. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.